Hello students, in today's class we are going to discuss about a new chapter, Understanding Data. In this chapter we are going to deal with certain concepts regarding what is meant by a data and how do we collect data from various sources, what is its importance of collecting the data and how do we process it into a useful information, and finally where do we store all these data inside the storage devices in a computer system. Also, we will be discussing about the types of data like structured and unstructured data. So let's start the class to discuss about these concepts. Understanding data. So today we are about to discuss regarding this new chapter, and when it comes to understanding data, here what is meant by a data first of all, which is a raw information, right? So why do we collect data? To know about something, right? So without collecting the data we cannot take decisions at all. So most of the decisions that we take nowadays are based upon the data or the information which we collect. So without having certain information in our hand, we cannot take proper decisions at all. For instance, if you take college admissions, after completing your 12th grade you will go to a college to complete a degree or to join a course. So what do we do before getting admission into the college? We will check for the qualification and the experience of the faculty members, and then we will look for the placement data. Very first thing that we will look for the placement data of the previous years, and we will look for the facilities like laboratory, hostel, library, and what is the fee structure especially, and we will compare all these things with many colleges, and then we will choose the preferable colleges. So based on all these data we are getting into we are taking a decision, right? Similarly, if you look at government, actually they will collect and record the data about the population through a process called census. So through the census process, what the government is doing, the government is systematically collecting and recording all the data about the population. So based on that, why do we collect data about the population? All these things helps them to plan and formulate many new policies for the government and for the people. So similarly, if you take the sports team, so when it comes to sport, the coaching staff, he will actually analyze the previous performances of the opponents to make strategies and how to overcome the opponent team. So all these things will help him to give a proper coaching for the students. And banks, if you consider, they will maintain data about the customers, their account details, and what are the transactions has been made by the customer. All these data will be maintained by the bank. So data, if you consider it, is actually very crucial to take for decision making, not only in one particular field but in all the fields. Everywhere you take, we are maintaining data. Even when you take the social networking sites like Instagram or Facebook, any sites which we use, in all the social networking sites, what are we doing? We are posting something. In case if we update our pictures, the picture remains in the Instagram or Facebook until or unless we delete it. Yes or not? So that is also a data. Yes, so similarly, after collecting all these data, we will make it as a summarization. For example, college, if you see, they will process and analyze all these data, like how many students have placed in various companies in the last 3 years, and what are the different salary packages they have got in the last 3 years. All these data will be collected by the college, and they will summarize it as so that it will be easy for understanding. Yes, so that it will be easy to upload on the brochures for the upcoming students, so that it helps them in the decision making process. And similarly, if you consider this data means it can be a collection of characters, numbers, and it can be any symbols, so which represent some values of some situations or variables. So data, it has come from the word datum. Clear? Then usually we will store data. Before the computers were introduced, data were stored in the form of data was stored usually in the manual records. Yes, we used to store all the data in a notebook or else in a paper. So like that we have stored data. But nowadays computers are available, so all the data are actually stored in the electronic forms. So what is the reason to store all the data in the electronic form? The data processing becomes much faster and easier when compared to the manual data processing, which is done by the people. So if we wanted to add some 1000 to 2000 sets of numbers it will take much time for the people, but the system will perform everything within some fraction of seconds. Yes, so that is the reason why data are stored in electronic form nowadays. Everything has become digitalized. And this information and communication technology, if you see like mobile and internet, they have resulted in the large volumes of data in a very fast pace. So everything we have started storing in the cloud, that is in the computers. So with the help of the internet, we are storing all the data in the cloud, so that it will be very easy for retrieving it later, and we will not suffer from the loss of data. So that is the reason why we are storing everything electronically. And some examples of data which we come across, if you consider, if it is a person, when you are going to collect data about a person, you will usually collect his name, his or her name, age, gender, contact details, and the address of the person. So for instance, each and every example, before you start to collect data about whom you're going to collect data, about what you're going to collect data, based on that, you will gather the details. Yes or not? So if it is a person, you will collect data based according to the person, his personal details. Similarly, transactions, if you take transactions can be done directly in the bank or the net banking, phone banking, or you can do transactions for booking tickets or for shopping online. So whether you're doing it online or offline, all these things comes under transactions. Similarly, data can be in many different forms, like it can be images, graphics, animations, audio, video, documents and web pages, online posts which you're seeing in the internet, or the comments which you're posting in the Instagram or Facebook, or the messages which you're sending to your friend in WhatsApp. So everything together is considered as data. Even the satellite data, including meteorological data, like communication data and the earth observation, so everything comes under data. And why do we collect all these data? What is the importance of collecting all these data? The only thing is to make decisions. So human beings rely on data for making decisions alone. So without having data in our hand, we cannot make any decisions at all. Yes or not? So after collecting these data, what do we do usually? We will actually process all these data with the help of a computer. Yes, and after processing, obviously we will store it for future references. In case if one person is withdrawing money from the ATM, the bank has to keep it updated in their website, like what is the amount has been debited and what is the withdrawn amount, and it has been linked to which account on which date it has been debited. So all these things has to be maintained by the bank. Similarly, meteorological department, if you consider, they has to continuously keep monitoring the satellite data for upcoming cyclones or heavy rains. Similarly, in a business environment, they have to monitor and analyze the market behavior, with respect to the products, and they will take actions according to it. So but if you take this airlines and train tickets, when we are booking, they make use of this dynamic pricing concept. So it depends upon the demand and supply, the prices will vary in the airlines, right? Similarly, when you try to book some cab using the applications like Ola, like when we make use of some cabs, so at that time we will be that in there also the dynamic pricing concept has been applied. So based on the demand and supply, what will happen? The price will increase or decrease. Even in the restaurants, if you consider, there is an option called Happy Hours, where the discounted price will be applied based on the sales. Yes. So this is the importance of collecting the data. And besides the business, some of the other scenarios where data are also stored and analyzed for making decisions are especially voting machines. So nowadays we are using this electronic voting machines, which is used for recording the votes, right? So once we cast a vote, our vote will be recorded to the respective person, and the voting data from all the machines, what will happen finally during the election results, within a short time, from throughout India, even though the people start to count the votes, everything will they will declare the result in a very short span of time. So everything is being recorded. That is the reason. So scientists, if you consider, they will do experiments and they will record all the data. and they will calculate and compare the results. So there they are storing the data. And even pharmaceutical companies, to see the side effects of the medicines where they are releasing it, and that they will be recording it. And similarly, libraries, they maintain data about books in the library, the membership of the library, and search engines like Google or Yahoo, what these search engines are doing, it gives us results after analyzing the large volumes of data which is available on the website. For example, if you are searching some information related to Python or else related to SQL, so when we type Python, it will list out many different links, many different pages in one single page. Actually, many more than 10 to 15 pages will display, but in a single page, you could see many different links. So the search algorithm works over there. Similarly, weather alerts, which is generated by analyzing data received from various satellites. So this is how the data are being collected and processed, and that is why we collect data to make decisions. And when it comes to data, you have two different types, like structured and unstructured data. So what do you mean by the structured data? For example, if you consider an image, data can be in many forms. I have told you, it can be an image or video or audio or a text format. So anything it can be. Yes, a data cannot stick to one particular type, but you can categorize the data into structured and unstructured. So an image, if you consider, it is a collection of pixels. But video, if you consider, it is a collection of frames. Messages, it is made up of text. Similarly, fee slip, in case if you're having the fee slip or else the bill which you have in your hand, it is actually made up of the numeric and non-numeric entries. So each and every data comes with different forms, right? So structured data, if you consider, in this structured data, the data are organized and it is recorded in a well-defined format. A well-defined format in the sense, in the structured data, usually data will be represented in the form of tabular form. Yes, all the data will be stored in the tabular form, like rows and columns. So that is why we call it as a structured data. If you consider this model number, product name, unit price, discount, items in inventory, all these things are called the field names, or even you can call it as column names or attribute. So for a column, you have many different names. A column is also called as attribute or field names. Clear? So under the model number, we can provide only the model number details. Similarly, under the product name, we can provide only the product details, product name of the products. Similarly, under the unit price, we can only provide the price of each and every product. So here, what are we doing? We are providing data according to the column names. So everything is provided in a well-defined format, right? So that's why it is called as a structured data. And if you see here in this, what are the, for each and every the data, what are the different fields that are available, or what are the different fields that could possibly you can take into account? If you consider a books at a shop, what are the different fields you can create in a spreadsheet when you're trying to record the data, like book title, in case if you're purchasing a book. So, and if you're going to the shopkeeper to pay the cash to get the book, he will actually check for the title of the book, who is the author, price, and which year of publication. All these details will be available with the shopkeeper. Yes, if he just scans the barcode of the book, immediately all these details will be updated in the software which he is having. Yes, and based on that, he will provide you the bill after generating it. And similarly, depositing fees in a school, like what are the details we need to deposit fees in a school, like student name, class, roll number, fees amount. So all these details are needed. So these are also called as a data. So these are some examples you can take into account. And now unstructured data. So what do you mean by the unstructured data? Structured data means I told you the data will be organized in a well-defined format, especially in a tabular form. But here unstructured data means the data will be in any form. There is no fixed pattern at all. It will not be in a tabular form especially. Yes. So the best example is newspaper. If you consider newspaper, it consists of many different types of information. So in the first page, maybe they will provide advertisement, and in the second page, they might have 2 to 3 pictures, and followed by 5 news items will be provided. Yes, and in the other day,
5 to 6 pictures they might have provided in the same page, and below that they would have provided only some 2 to 3 news contents. So it differs. There is no particular format to provide news or to print news in a paper. Yes, they are not following any specific format. Even when you are about to send a mail to your friend, you will not follow any fixed structure. You will write in your own, right? You will write on your own, right? So how much of a files you wanted to attach it, you can do it. There is no such restriction to attach files even. Yes, we are not going to follow any traditional rows and column structure. So that is why it is called as an unstructured data. Some examples of unstructured data, if you consider, like web pages, then you can consider the text documents, then business reports, or the audio and video files, or the social media messages which you use in Instagram and Facebook. All these things comes under unstructured data types. Clear? In other words, this unstructured data can also be described with the other term called metadata. So metadata is nothing but data about data. Yes, so the data about data is nothing but metadata, where we will use this metadata to describe about the unstructured data. Similarly, we can have some metadata for an image file if you consider, like the size of the image, what is the type of the image, and image resolution, all these things. For example, if you're going to take one particular image content, in that image you will check for what is the size to store in the respective storage device, and what is the type of the file, whether it is a JPEG image or PNG image or a bitmap image, and what is the resolution of the image. So all these things we will take into account. Even when we try to apply some exams through online, when we try to fill some online applications, they would have given some restrictions, no, like only 100 KB image is allowed to upload in this particular to be uploaded, or only this particular file size must be uploaded. So they might have kept certain restrictions, right? So all these things are called like unstructured data. Yes, and data collection. So data collection, why do we collect data? Only thing is to process it. Unless we collect data, we cannot process it. For example, if you have two numbers like 5 and 10, only when you add those two numbers, that is for processing, you can add or subtract or multiply or divide. That's Savish. That is called processing. Finally, you will get the result, like input, process, and output only. So input means collecting the data. Process means what process you're going to do, what task you're going to perform with the data which you have collected. And finally, output, what is you're getting. That represents the result. So some of the different scenarios they have explained here. So in a shop, so how the sales data will be maintained in case if the shopkeeper is not going to maintain any manual records, he will approach a programmer to develop a software. Yes, and the software can be developed with the help of Python, or it can be you can make use of the backend like SQL to store all the data. So these are some of the examples for data collection. And data collections, where these data collections takes place in many different places. For that, they have given certain examples. For example, hospitals. Hospitals, they will collect data about patients for improving their services. Then shopping malls, if you see, they will collect data about the items that is continuously purchased by the people. And then if you see the political analyst, he will actually see for the data which is there in the post and messages and social media to analyze about the public opinion. So many different examples you can consider regarding data collection. And once the data has been collected, obviously it would be processed. Yes, and after processing, we have to store it for future retrieval of the data which we have got up. So without storing the data, there is no use at all. We have to store it for future references so that it can be retrieved later also. And data storage nowadays, it has become a challenging task. Yes, but thankfully we have got these digital storage devices like hard disk drive. External hard disk drives are available nowadays, a CD, DVD. So many digital storage devices are available nowadays to have a backup. So we can store data like images, documents, audios, and videos. So data can be in any form. So all these things can be stored in these external digital storage devices, or else in the internal storage devices also. But sometimes we may come across some limitations when we are processing these files. So to overcome all these things, we make use of a software called DBMS, which is Database Management System, to overcome all the limitations of the file processing. and how does the data is being processed. So when you look at the processing of data, if you see here, the raw data which we collect, the data which we collect is nothing but the raw data. Only when we process it, it will provide you as useful information or it will be converted into a useful information. So if you see in this image, the raw data can be a number, text, images, audio, video, anything it can be. And only when we process it, we will get the useful information. Similarly, the data processing, what happens in the data processing exactly? Input, process and output. So input is nothing but what are the things that comes under input? Collection, preparation and entry. Similarly, in processing, you have store, retrieve, classify and update. And in output, you have reports, results and processing system. So these are the things which comes under data processing. And if you look at this data-based problem statements, what are the problems which we come across and what are the things we have to keep in mind when we are collecting the data and when we are processing it to generate a proper output. And so here the headings, the title which they has been given here, no, these are the problem statements. A website handling online filling of student details for a competitive examination and generating admit card. So when you're about to apply for a competitive examination, what is the very first step we will do? The particular website will collect the details of the student, like name of the student, address, what is the qualification, and the payment details, or whether the student is going to choose net banking or any other mode of payment. All these things comes under input. Yes, which is collection of data. And after collecting all these data, the website has to process it. So how it is processing? See, processing of filled in details for correctness of data received. So it will check for the correctness of data, it will check for the eligibility and whether the student has paid the fees or not, and whether the photo and signature has been uploaded or not. All these things comes under process for this particular problem statement. Yes, and after processing all these things, it will generate the admit card as a result. And only when we get admit card, we will be allowed to write the exam. Otherwise, we will not be allowed. And in the admit card, it will specify the roll number, center address, date and time of test. Everything will be uploaded. Similarly, two more examples they have given, like issue of train ticket. So if you issue of train ticket means it will ask certain inputs against the user, like from where you are about to start, which is the destination you wanted to reach, and what is the date of journey, how many number of tickets you need, or which class you need, whether sleeper or AC or berth or preference. So all these things comes under input. And it will verify all the login details in the process. It will check for the availability of the seats, whether the payment has been done or not. So all these things comes under processing. And finally, once the ticket has been generated, that will be displayed for the customer. So this is how the inputs, the data will be collected, processed, and then the output will be displayed finally.
And that's all for today's class, children. We will be discussing about the remaining concepts in the next class. Thank you.